Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all ready for more What the Fuck Are You Doing, Sony?
Heh.
What
uh,
the
are we ever
fuck?
ready for that?
I'd like to think we are, but I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
So let's get into it, I guess. Fucking Sony dropped some information about their new optional disk drive and that it requires an internet connection.
Yeah, when you set
It
it up.
okay, so it's an optional
Doesn't require
drive.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it you when you buy the new Slim, if you decide you want to include the drive, you can install a drive, but to set it up and to have it work, it has to have an
Mm-hmm.
internet connection at least initially, as far as we can tell. Now we don't know if it's
Mm-hmm.
gonna check in or some bullshit later. We don't know.
No, it's an initial setup
It
because
pair
it's due to the hardware pairing. Mm-hmm.
it pairs itself to the console and it
Yeah.
requires an internet connection. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, like,
It's pretty terrible.
yeah, like it's not great. I don't.
Mm-hmm. Yep, because there's also another
Oh,
thing
there's it
to
gets
it.
worse. Cool. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
Because once you made that pairing,
Uh huh.
that pair is the only thing that works together.
Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so it's.
That's a permanent pairing.
Oh
So
no.
that disk drive is now completely useless without that piece of base kit, and vice
Oh.
versa. Well, vice versa, not completely, but you can't use any other drive with that
So what if
console
the
then.
drive fails?
From what I know, can't replace it. You'd probably
I
have
get.
to
I
send the
guess. I
unit in,
guess you'd
I'm
have to
guessing.
send it to Sony. They just have to give you a new PS5 and a new fucking new fucking
Yeah, I'm guessing
drive.
they have a way to override that to undo the pairing, would be my guess. Although it wouldn't surprise me if there wasn't a way even for Sony and they just really just take the data from one unit to the other, trash that unit and send back a new unit.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me, but you know,
Mm-hmm.
that's not something I'd really want either. I don't know, man. I just like why? Like what possible like I don't get why you'd even want that cuz like why do this? Like I shouldn't
Uh,
need it's a fi-
as
it's a physical device. It
yeah.
physically plugs into the console. It shouldn't need
Mm-hmm.
an internet connection, motherfucker. It's a physical thing. It's not like a Bluetooth or like some sort of wireless connection thing that has to like do verifying or some stupid shit. It's a device that plugs into a different device. It's a physical connection. It shouldn't need
Mm-hmm.
anything else for pairing. It's already paired via the physical connection. What
Yep.
what possible purpose does this serve outside of uh, what
Two
making sure?
words.
Hmm.
2 words. Walled
Oh.
garden. It's the
Oh.
usual approach that you have, that they want to make sure that you can't do anything to the drive or use a modified drive to prevent piracy and all
Uh,
of those other things.
Pir-
It's their
uh,
usual security over user accessibility
pir-
approach.
piracy. That's
Mm.
okay. I guess I don't.
And also probably preventing third party repairs like eBay.
That that seems far more likely.
Mm, it's always a combo.
Yeah, that. That
Because you know
seems
how they are with security, with piracy stuff, with their whole encryption and all that.
uh that's such a strange fucking thing for a physical device. If this was like a
Yep,
wireless drive or something, or some kind of like wireless accessory,
that would be weird.
yeah, like that'd be weird, but like a pairing thing or something like that wouldn't even
Mm-hmm.
seem all that unusual. Like it would be weird, but I'd be a little bit more understanding, like a little bit, not by much.
You still wouldn't need an internet connection for that.
Yeah, the internet connection is
Because
still,
you could have a direct Bluetooth connection between the two units, for example.
yeah, it needing to be paired. I mean, couldn't they have just done like a, I don't know, like a serial number thing, like most things do? Like, isn't that? Couldn't they just have you register a serial number online or something? Wouldn't that be just as easy to be like, oh, this serial number is linked to this account, so it should work with
I mean,
this PS5? Like, that would be more reason. Like, I don't know if that's a better idea. I'm not saying that's inherently
mm,
better, but I don't know. It
eh,
just I don't know. This whole thing just comes off as fucking dumb to me, and I really have a hard
yeah.
time wrapping my brain around why I have to do this. And you see, though, they say it's a one-time check-in, but
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the check-in is one time because
yeah,
it's
that's yeah,
it's
yeah,
probably a check to see if the drive is valid, something like that.
yeah, because there's going
I
to
mean,
be so many other.
it's not like they're counting on the system never to be online again. So they don't need any specific thing there. This
Yeah,
is just, yeah, you
God
want
for
to access, you
God
want to use the
forbid.
drive? Let's see.
God forbid you buy the Metal Gear Solid Collection Part 1. You can't get online. I hope you enjoy not being able to access the 3 actual games you
Uh-huh.
paid for. Yeah, that's cool. Fantastic. All you could put on your Switch cart was the 3 fucking NES games and the fucking MSX ones. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Great use of physical hardware there, boys.
Yeah, they
And
have to save money.
yeah,
Those
say
cartridges aren't cheap.
yeah. And it looks, and what makes that story even dumber is it looks like usually when it comes to some of these games, the Asia version of the game that gets released on Play
Mm-hmm.
Asia has like everything on the cart. So like everything's
Yeah.
already on the cart, so you don't have to go
Mm-hmm.
through that. But it doesn't look like that's the case this time with this one though. As far as
Interesting.
people I've seen, that doesn't seem to be the case. So that's fucking annoying.
So it's a global Konami idiocy,
Yeah,
not just a
this
Western
is
Konami idiocy. Okay.
yeah, this is this the Konami's stupidity has become
Mm.
endemic levels of stupidity. What's past pandemic? It's just It's just normal. It's just
Mm-hmm.
normalized now. It's not even like
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's just an endemic. It's just what it is now. They're just stupid by
Yeah.
default. Stupid by default, as if that's some kind of critical illness.
I mean,
He's he's stoop
Metal Gear Survive already proved that, I guess.
Yeah, that didn't help their case either. That didn't help anybody's case. So, oh man, I don't like. It's one thing. It's one thing. Like games these days have me in such a fucked up place because like
Mm-hmm.
I don't mind if like a game's like base install is big, right? Right,
Mm-hmm.
like a game install being like 120 gigs. Like, yeah, I whinge about installing Baldur's Gate 3 on my PC for the
Mm-hmm.
first time because I had to put it on a completely different drive. Yeah, fine. I crack jokes about it. I whinge, but you know what? Fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's one install, but then I hear about like Call of Duty or some stupid shit where it's like 150 minimum for hard drive space,
For
but
the
also
base
set
game, and then
a
you get the
90.
map packs, you get the
Yeah.
add-ons and all.
And
And if you wait long enough, that's all you have on your PlayStation, and the
yeah.
drive is full.
Oh yeah. No, I have plenty of friends who are like they can only
Mm-hmm.
have like Warzone and like one other game on their fucking console because this shit just takes
Mm-hmm.
up so much goddamn space. And I always knew we might be limited some way, shape, or form in the future by hardware. I never really imagined it would just be storage. Like storage, I never really felt like storage would be the thing. Storage would be the Achilles heel that slows us down to some degree. That's where we falter. That's where we fucked up. We have the processing power, we have the graphic compute power, we have everything else. But fucking storage is where this whole fucking party decides to shut the fucking lights off and turn off. That's where we fucked up. That's the part where we fucked this whole thing up. We can we can 3D and ray trace and fucking AI shit to the fucking cows come home. But you got to install some shit. Yeah, well,
It's the usual cost calculation thing. I mean, you could get yourself a regular hard drive with 20 or more terabytes of space. But the waiting times for the loading, that's not fun.
no, and that's the crazy thing, right? There was this
Mm-hmm.
stupid ass debate on like Twitter, which
Mm-hmm.
I don't really use Twitter these days as much.
Mm-hmm.
I only occasionally log in just to see what the fuck is on fire that day, and then I close Twitter and go about my day. So
Mm-hmm.
that's great. People were like
Mm-hmm.
arguing about like Spider-Man 2 having like a load screen or something. Or like there
Mm-hmm.
were certain things they were complaining were load screens, and I'm like, so like I was curious, right? Because I'm like, load screens, that seems a little bit ridiculous. I looked it up. These motherfuckers were really upset over like 5 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
It's like
Yeah.
it's like 5 seconds on PS5, my guy. It's like 5 seconds. Are we really about to try to have that conversation about load screens at 5 seconds? Really? This is where y'all niggas draw the line and get upset? 5 seconds? Okay.
How quickly people forget. Let's put those people in front of a PS4 with the regular hard drive base model,
Yeah, I
and then
guess.
let them play Horizon Forbidden West. You'll wait for a few for 1 or 2 seconds for the icons on the map screen to load when you
Yeah,
switch there
yeah,
every time.
it's not a good time. It's not a good time. It's not a
And loading times, yeah. You're gonna go back to Spider-Man 2 and be thanking God for those 5 seconds.
yeah, I don't like load times haven't really ever been a thing I get like super upset about unless it's like unless they happen so often to where I can't help but
Mm-hmm.
notice them. But like my guys, I play on Switch. Like I see loads sometimes. I barely care. So like I don't know, man. I feel like some people. I feel like this industry, especially among the people who actually partake in it. Some of y'all be picking the weirdest fucking fights. I thought the whole shit with the puddles in Spider-Man 1 was fucking stupid as shit.
Yeah.
This is new and
Yeah, it's
unusual.
always it's always a bit it always depends with the load times. Let's say load times I'm not as mad about when it's just like let's see level load times or something that yeah can take a few seconds. I mean obviously on the PS4 I'd expect a certain amount of load times because what can you do? It's a regular slow hard drive. But when it gets as bad that the map, when you switch to the map screen, you need a second or 2 seconds to display the icons, that's when it gets a bit overboard.
So I wanted to ask you about this because this came up when I
Mm-hmm.
think Ratchet and Clank was coming to PC. The
Yeah.
Ratchet and Clank. People were saying that like because it's gonna be running on PC, that super
Mm-hmm.
special SSD in the PS5 wasn't really necessary because you could run it on a PC that didn't
Mm-hmm.
have it. So
Yeah.
that means the whole SSD thing was basically just cap.
To a certain extent, the amount of emphasis they put on that was PR, because obviously nothing at that point in time there was a distinct advantage that the PS5 had with that, because the SSD in the PS5 was faster than what you'd usually have on a PC. They had significantly more throughput, like the read times of was several hundred megabytes per second faster, from what I remember. I think it was, let's say, they could reach around 5 gigabytes per second, and
Yeah, because
usual
they
SSD didn't reach that.
because I have
Even
an
the M2
MV.
SSDs on, even the NVMe SSDs on PC at the time didn't reach that.
Yeah, I have a Gen 3 NVMe,
Mm-hmm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
mean the one that you have to install like a Gen 4 if you want to put it into the PS5. Like it requires a Gen 4, like actual
Yeah,
Gen 4 speeds.
and
Like it's not just
yeah,
it's not Gen 4 with Gen 3 speeds. It has to be Gen 4 with Gen 4 speeds. I mean, the numbers look impressive,
and
right? Like the
and that's the exchangeable one, because that one is, I think, even a bit slower than
oh, wow.
the
Okay.
integrated SSD. I think
Shit.
the integrated SSD reaches a bit faster speeds because it's just directly
Oh,
connected.
it's soldered on, so
It's it.
yeah,
Yeah, I think
direct
they did.
connection.
They had some specific connections there, but and that's why it reaches a bit higher speeds. But yeah, exactly. It was PCIe 4, and at the time, 4 I think wasn't readily available on PC yet.
No, they
It was, as you say, the 3.
yeah.
By now we are reaching 5, but that's obviously
I kind of wonder though.
very new.
I kind of
Mm-hmm.
wonder though, like we haven't really like yeah, these things are getting faster and faster, but like
Mm-hmm.
unless the stuff you're using actually uses that to its advantage, you're not always going to see that difference, right? Like
Yeah, absolutely.
the stuff like the things you're actually putting on it have to actually use it.
Yeah.
Like for me,
Mm-hmm.
as a video editor, if I may flex my own
Mm-hmm.
muscles here for a second, one of the greatest upgrades I ever made to how I do things was that my scratch discs are always SSDs. So the
Mm-hmm.
disc that I
Yeah.
pull my footage off of is an SSD. The footage
Mm-hmm.
that I render to is an SSD. That by itself makes a huge difference when you're trying to
Mm-hmm.
like load in, 15, 16, 20 gigabyte files into your video
Mm-hmm.
editor and you're loading it off of an SSD. And the
Mm-hmm.
thing is, the SSDs I'm using for that, they're not like NVMe. They're just normal old SATA SSDs, and I
Yeah.
still haven't managed to fucking cap those out for what I do. Like, I'd have to be getting to some like 8K,
Mm-hmm.
60 frames
Yeah,
per
the
second
amount of
footage.
data is always the important thing there.
Yeah,
But yeah, that is the thing that made Ratchet and Clank work well on the PS5, because you did need the amount of data transferred to very quickly, because of the portals that you had there, the rifts or whatever they were called. Because
mm-hmm.
that was, I think the subtitle was Rift Apart, so it was kind of rifts that you went through, so it really had to snap load that other level in, or the other level area or whatever, and that had to happen so quickly that you just go through and done.
Yeah. So
And
I just
they did some testing in that regard on PC, and depending on what kind of hardware you have, what kind of SSD, there is a noticeable difference, but it's definitely not a deal breaker if you don't reach quite that speed, because it's
yeah.
just you go into the rift, you take a second longer and are on the other side or whatever. So Yeah.
And I highly
And I
doubt
think
anybody
they
is.
even managed to make it work decently on the Steam Deck, I think.
Oh,
Not obviously not quite as well, but it worked on the Steam Deck even after some patching.
oh, depending on how you look at it, the Steam Deck is already a magical piece of hardware. So
You could say that, yeah.
it's already
hmm
doing God's work, so to speak.